What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video with this camera focus anyway. So, today I will be reviewing Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1. And the camera won't focus. The movie starts off with this girl named Tina, and she's having a nightmare. And then, before the nightmare ends, Freddy comes out, and then when she wakes up, her nightgown is ripped. On the way to school, she talks to Nancy, the main character, and Glenn about it. And then that night, they're hanging out with Tina, and then they hear something outside, and then Rod, her boyfriend, who she had an argument with in the past, shows up, and then they decide to do it. And then Nancy is having a nightmare, and then Freddy is pushing his face against her wall. That later, Tina is having a nightmare, and then Freddy is doing all this creepy stuff, and then she is getting killed by Freddy, and then Rod wakes up, and then Tina dies. Nancy then goes to the police station because her dad works there, and then they think Rod is the one who killed Tina. Next day, Nancy is told to stay home from school, but she goes there anyway, and then her dad uses Rod as bait to arrest Rod. And then she goes to school, and then she falls asleep, then she has a nightmare, and Nancy then burns herself to wake up from the nightmare, and then she sees Rod, who is in jail, and then she finds out that it was Freddy who got Tina. And then when she's in the bath, Freddy attacks Nancy, and then she tells her mom it's alright. And then Glenn comes over, and she tells him to stay awake. Nancy falls asleep and sees Freddy trying to attack Rod. And then Freddy's trying to make it look like Rod is trying to unalive himself. And then Nancy wakes up, yells at Glenn. Then they go there, and the police think that Rod unalived himself, even though Nancy knows that it's Freddy who did that. The police conclude that Rod killed Tina. They have a funeral for him. Then Nancy's mother takes her to the facility to see what she's happening to her. And then she brings Freddy's hat out of her dream. Nancy takes Freddy's hat out of the garbage and then berates her mom about not telling her about Freddy. Then, after talking to Glenn, her mother brings her down in the basement and tells her Freddy's origin story about how the police and them didn't find out that he did it. Then they let him free, and then the parents burned him. Nancy then tells Glenn to prepare for the worst case scenario if Freddy gets her and then gets him, and his dad puts the phone on the counter so she can't call, and then Freddy pulls Glenn under his bed like it's a WWE wrestler getting pulled under the ring. Then Nancy sets up traps, even though her dad still doesn't believe her, even though Rod is dead. So they just investigate the whole thing, and then in 20 minutes Nancy is able to set up these traps. Nancy then is in the dream, and then when she finds Freddy, she runs away, and then she's able to bring him into the real world. Then she thinks she's crazy, and because she doesn't see him, and then he comes out, and then he attacks her, and then she hits him with the hammer that she put on the door, and then blows him up and stuff, and then the police don't believe her still, and then she burns him, and then she's able to get her dad to believe when Freddy is attacking her mom. And then Freddy is trying to unalive Nancy's mom, and then he's successful in doing that. And then Nancy then tells her dad to leave and tells Freddy that he's nothing and isn't real, and he disappears. Then they have a happy ending, and then the guy gets stuck in a convertible because her friends are all still alive, and then Nancy's mom gets pulled through the window. Alright, that was my review of Nightmare on Elm Street. If you like this video, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.